You cannot apply this on your own. There is no way, just in our own strength. These phrases, this is God working through us. This is supernatural. This is us yielding to Christ and abiding in Him, and Him coming alongside of us and meeting us there and being a part of it. Well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to look at all 4 phrases. And I'll be honest with you, what I don't like about all 4 phrases is there's a word in front of each one of the phrases. It's this word always. I struggle with that. I wish it was written a little differently. I'm just going to be honest, and I wish it was like pick and choose, but it's not. It's always. So here we go. Let's take a look. Always protects. Always protects. What does this phrase mean? Well, there's 2 Greek words that are used here, pontus stege. And in our text here in the NIV, it's translated always protects. If you're looking at a New American Standard, it's translated bears all things. Those might seem a little different, but actually both translations are perfectly accurate. They're both well within the rights within the Greek and how you take it to be able to translate it in that manner. The idea of protection, the word stege actually is a derivative from the word roof. And so this idea of a covering, of a roof that's over top of you. Think of it this way. You had plenty of storms this week, right? We had tons of rain come in, I think, on Wednesday or whatever, and all that. And the rain came down, and you were under a roof, hopefully, enjoying the protection that it provided from the storm. You know, maybe sitting there drinking your coffee going, wow, isn't it neat? It's raining outside. And not suffering from the effects of the rain. You had a protection, a covering. And this term definitely means that in this text. But it also has another connotation that you can take from it. The NASB, the bears all things. This idea and this word picture where it comes from the underneath and carries and picks up and lifts the burden from you. And so you have these 2 play on words which are perfectly fine together in these translations. The idea that God's love covers us and God's love carries us and picks us up and carries our burdens through. Now here's the cool thing about this whole passage in 1 Corinthians, this love passage. And we look at that, and if we really believe 1 John, where it says that God is love, then as we get to 1 Corinthians and it's saying love is, we're getting a description of what God is like and who God is. And so this is a great description of how God loves. But Paul kind of takes it a little bit further and says, okay, wait, I want you to apply this to relationships that you have. This isn't just how God loves us. This is how, through God's strength, we're supposed to love others. And so you get to this protection phrase, covering, or to bear burdens, and you go, okay, great. How do I take this and apply this to people? How do I take this concept and transform it and love people in a protecting way? We have a phrase in our house that we use in parenting, and actually we share it with Mark and Eleanor. It's the same thing. We go back and forth with our kids and our discipline, but we always say, hey, we in our house love and protect. We love and protect each other. And if you talk to one of my kids in the discipline process, if they've done something wrong, I'll ask them the question, was that loving or protecting? And they'll usually go, no. I'm like, all right, do we do that? No. Okay, so Camden has this kind of weird processor in his head where it's so great. He just dwells on things for a while and chews it up, and then he comes out and he asks these questions at these random times, and you're like, we talked about that like 45 minutes? All right, whatever. So I'm sitting there at the table, and he comes down to me and goes, Dad, love and protect. If someone is hurting Tegan, can I hit him? And I was like, looking at him like, well, yeah, I mean, yeah, man, sure, go ahead. You can, yeah, you protect your sister, yeah. And so I go back to reading. 10 seconds later, Rylan comes running out, Dad, Camden hit me! I was like, I got to pay a little more attention to his questions. There's more involved in what he's asking. Usually when we think of protection, we think of physical protection of some kind, right? If that person's hurt, I'm going to stand in the gap for them, and I'm going to protect them in some way. But protection really goes deeper than that. I mean, think of it this way, protecting someone's heart. What does that look like to protect someone's heart? To care enough about them, to protect, to care for their feelings. For example, you might be sitting in a room where that person is not, and everyone starts talking about that person in a way that you know they shouldn't be talking about. And you know it's going to funnel back to them. What does it look like to protect them? Well, standing up for them and saying, hey, this isn't a conversation we need to have. Apparently, this is a conversation you guys need to have with this person. What does it look like to protect someone's character? Or protect someone's integrity? Or protect someone's purity? I mean, if you're dating right now, how are you together protecting and caring for each other and loving each other enough to protect each other's purity? And say, listen, I know I could get what I want here, but you matter to God and you matter to me, and I want to protect this. I want to care for this. Or how do we protect each other in these areas? It's standing up for each other and looking out for people and saying, listen, you're walking into a trap here. You need to look. You need to see. You need to care about this. It's standing up for others when they can't stand up for themselves. It's coming alongside of others when they are done and everything's crashing on and saying, listen, I will help you with this burden. I will care for you. I care enough about you to say something here. It's tough to do. It's tough to be the person in the room, the only one not crashing down on somebody and go, listen, this isn't right, when you know all eyes are going to come back to you. But love protects. Love always protects. Second phrase, always trusts. Well, what does this phrase mean? As I looked at it, commentators are really all over the map on this idea of trusts. You have this always in here again, but the always trust. Some say to believe the best about people. You know, I'm just going to believe good things about you. That's the trust. Others say that you're not supposed to have ill-founded suspicions or to never stop trusting people. Some would say, hey, no, be generous with your trust, but not gullible with your trust. I mean, this one is hard. We're called to love each other by trusting each other. And yet, look around you. Who in this room is 100% trustworthy? None of us. And yet, God calls us to trust. I mean, it's easier to trust something that's 100%, right? Never going to let you down. That's a little bit easier to trust. When Nicole and I were getting married, we started receiving wedding gifts. And I'll just be honest, most of them, as they came in, I was like, that's great. Vacuum, awesome. You know, I didn't really care. But we got two that I was like, what's up? One of them was skydiving passes. We got 2 skydiving passes. And I was like, who gives this for a wedding? I love you. This is awesome. And so I got all excited. You know, I happened to open that card up, and I'm like, yes! Because I'd always wanted to do it. And so I went to Nicole, and I'm like, hey, look, we got skydiving passes. And there's 2 of them, and, you know, if you don't want to, I could go twice. And she was like, are you kidding? If you're going, I'm going. I'd love to do that. And I'm like, I love you. And so we decided to go, we went skydiving together. And after we got married, a couple months after, we went to the airport, little airport out in nowhere, Arizona, for our skydiving lessons. And the guy said, you know, first thing you got to decide is what kind of jump you want to do first off. And I'm like, out of the plane. He's like, no. He goes, there's 2 kinds we offer. One is called the tandem jump, which we attach someone to you, and you free fall for a little bit longer, and then you pull, and they kind of control the cords and all that. And I'm like, so I'm just along for the ride? And he goes, yeah. He goes, the other is the static line jump, where you crawl out of the plane yourself, and you do everything and let go and all that kind of stuff, but the cord is attached to the plane, so as you get far enough away from the plane, the parachute automatically opens up.